Hi, Miss Pam here. We're doing birds, and we've been doing birds for a few days. And the bird that we have today is kind of a funky looking bird. Anyone know what it is? It's a secretary bird. And that bird is very long, and it's gorgeous. Let's have some fun today. Secretary bird. What do we know about secretary birds? Do you know of any secretaries that work in the office at your school? Well, they're named after those secretaries because the secretaries in the offices do all kinds of things like answer the phone and use his copy machine and make copies, do all kinds of things. They're the ones that kind of run the office. What's so important about them is if they're named after a secretary, why is that? Well, the reason is because secretaries in the 1700s used to use quills from birds. And those quills they would dip into ink and then they would write. And so whoever named the bird saw the feathers up here look like quills. And so they called them the secretary bird. Okay? So that's kind of interesting. So first to get started, on all of our birds, we'd like to hang them. And the reason for that is the other ones get lost or, put away. But if you hang them, and I just poked a hole with a pair of scissors, or you can use I know you've got hole punchers, so you might want to use those. And then I just took some old yarn I had and I hung it. And my plan is to take all of my birds when I'm done and go right around my window so that I have a bird curtain. Okay, let's get started. So I used mostly colored pencils, and I used yellow, orange, and black. For the gray on the bird, I use a pencil, and that's how we get those fine lines. So let's start. So let's take our orange crayon, our orange colored pencil, and we're going to go right around the eye and make it like an eye that we have. Make it dark around the eye and then put a little bit of light specks of orange in the inside. But don't cover it all because I left a little bit of white in there and that gives it the highlight. Also makes it look round. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is pick up our yellow and we're going to do a little tiny bit of yellow at the end of the beak. So here's the beak right here. And that yellow, I just made a yellow dot there. And then I put the yellow right in front of the eye on the beak and it looks like a little tiny triangle. Okay, so that's the only yellow. We can put the yellow away, pick up the orange again. Let's finish our orange on the bird. So we're going to take around here, right in front of those feathers, we're going to make like a half a circle here. That's just to give it some definition there. The rest of our bird we're going to take with our colored pencils, we're going to make lines. And we're going to make lines down here in the feathers. So you can see where the feathers start with those little half circles. We're just going to make lines and make them all go all the way down to the end of that bird. Okay, just make some lines. Don't kind of color that in because you want those lines just to be separate. Okay. Then I'm coming over here and I put a little bit of orange on this breast right here. And I put a little bit of orange above the legs. Okay, that gives that definition right there. Just sort of like makes it look real. The other place we're going to put orange is down here on the tail feathers. Again, just make a few lines. And down here on the legs and the feet we're doing lines where we're making sure that there's some white and there's some because that's what highlights it and gives it a contoured look. Up above here on the head, I just did 2 lines of orange. Okay, and that kind of finishes the orange. The next thing, you'll never believe what we're going to be using for the next color. In order to get a gray, because most people don't have gray colored pencils, we're going to take a pencil and we're going to make lines. We're going to make lines all across, just little tiny lines, the head, just some lines. And then we're going to make some round lines on this beak, leaving the underneath and the tip of that beak white. Again, that's for highlights. Okay? I'm going to put some very faint lines underneath the top of the neck. And then we're going to start with those lines coming down again that we did with the orange. Okay? All of that is done by a pencil. Okay? I just made some thin lines. So the top of the neck is the lighter, and then we go to more lines down here that are darker, all the way down here. Notice this is left, this last little tail feather here, that's left is white, and you can see it in pictures. Okay? That's left white. Okay? The other part that's gray down here under this body of the feathers, these also tail feathers, and they get to be gray. And really darken those in because you want a dark gray right there. Okay? Then we're going to come down here, we'll do a line here of light gray with a pencil, a line here, and then we're going to make 1, 2, 3, 4 bits, just kind of chunky things, just making lines again, just making lines, okay? Okay, leave some white in there because again you want that highlight. All right, the last thing we're going to do is come up here, we're going to make a few of these feathers. Right here, I made one there, I made one there with a pencil, there with a pencil, there, there, and there. Okay, this one is a lot lighter, you'll notice. Okay, all right, let's take our black colored pencil. We're going to fill in the eye first. We're going to fill in the eye a little bit. I've left a little bit of white at the top, and I can see a dot there and a dot there. So I just kind of did really gently to make that eye so it would look round and highlighted. Okay, we're going to do the black tail feathers, the feathers in the head. We're going to come down here, we're going to do this really black on the tail here. Really black, really black. All this is really black. Okay? Okay. Right, down here in the tip of this long tail feather is black. We're going to come here and we're going to run around these gray parts. And we're going to make lines. So the darker is up here and down here. And then I just put in a little bit of black. Okay. Here I left this a little bit lighter. And I used some white. I just left it white. And when I did my gray, I left that white. And then I just made some marks of black in there. Okay. Well, that is a secretary bird. Isn't that a gorgeous bird? And thank you for listening. See you next time.